Hey everyone, and welcome to SkillCapped. I'm the King Live, and today we're going to be breaking down how you can easily master Valorant's newest map, Breeze, and get a step ahead of your opponents for this ranked release. Breeze is one of Valorant's largest maps, and because of this, at times it can feel like it's a difficult map to tackle. But don't worry, if you've been feeling overwhelmed playing on this map recently, you're not alone, and that's why we wanted to prepare the best guide we possibly can to help players understand who to play, where to play, and what guns to use, so you don't have to feel so overwhelmed on the map all of the time. If that sounds good to you, just stick with us as we get into it. But before we do, let's introduce our question of the day, which is, of course, what do you guys think of Breeze? Do you like it so far? Do you feel like it needs some tweaks? Everyone seems to have a strong opinion on this map, so be sure to let us know yours in the comments below. Starting off with what agents you should be playing on Breeze though, and don't take this all set in stone either. If you want to lock an agent that isn't quite in the meta, that is totally fine. However, if you want to be playing what is absolutely strongest at this moment, this is the part of the guide for you. Originally, I was going to go through every single agent and talk in depth about how they play on Breeze, but in the interest of not wasting your time, I'm just going to try to breeze through this. The best controllers on Breeze right now seem to be Astra and Viper. Both of their walls are incredibly strong, and Astra's ability to place stars anywhere on the map really comes in handy throughout the rounds. Omen is still pretty good on Breeze, but his blind loses a lot of value with how open the map is. At times, it makes it kind of confusing of what exactly the best spots to use the blind are, and because of this, he does seem to be a little bit weaker. That being said, since the map is a lot larger, his ultimate and smokes do gain a bit of value, so there is a bit of a trade-off there. Overall, like I said, Omen's not a bad pick, but Viper and Astra seem to be the favorite controllers right now. Brimstone is a bit stunted by his smoke range, and until he receives a buff, he is not likely going to see a lot of play on Breeze. If we're talking about duelists, Jett and Reyna are clearly two of the best duelists on this map. Both of them are great at using the operator, and especially good at taking duels and denying a trade from the enemy with their dismiss abilities. Yoru is also really good on Breeze because his mobility has the capability of cutting down rotate time significantly, as well as taking advantage of how open the map is on offense to get behind defenders and pinch them with his team. As for the other duelist, Raze is still pretty good on Breeze. Her kit is all around one of the best kits in the game, and because of this, she will almost always be a viable pick on any map. As for Phoenix, his wall is actually pretty nice on the map, but he is generally just outclassed by other duelists, so he's not seeing much play on Breeze currently. Moving on to initiators, Sova is still one of the strongest agents in the game, and when you have this map with so many angles, his info is essential. You really don't want to be peeking into someone holding an angle with an operator from a mile away. And that's where Sova's utility comes in handy. Sova is seeing a lot of consistent play on Breeze, and it's for good reason. As for Skye and Breach, they're both still pretty good. Breach loses a bit of value because of how open the map is. It's hard to clump targets up for his ultimate or concussion. So Skye has a slight edge on this map, and theoretically Skye should be really strong, but with the release she hasn't seen much play yet. If you're a strong Skye player, this may be a really strong map for her, so I recommend giving her a shot. The map is incredibly open, so the flashes are easier to land, and her ultimate provides incredible value, being able to seek out the enemies that you are inevitably going to lose track of throughout the rounds on this massive battlefield. Sage is actually surprisingly strong on this map. Her ability to stall out pushes when the map is so large is super nice to have because rotates come in so slowly that any time she can buy is incredible on defense. Also, having the ability to wall off the 20 entrances on the map while your team is taking control is super nice, so extra points for that. As for Killjoy versus Cypher, this seems to actually be a Cypher map. The map is really open, so you might think that Killjoy turret gets more value, but you also have to keep in mind the more open it is, the worse her alarm bot, mollies, and ultimate become. There really aren't a bunch of amazing places to ult as Killjoy, and although I'm not going to count her out yet, Cypher seems to be the favorite so far. Most of the entrances on the map are easily covered with a tripwire, and constantly being able to watch your flanks with his utility is a super plus that you can't always count on Killjoy for. Because of her radius, she needs to stay in for her turret to be activated. There are plenty of times on this map that you just aren't in range to support that and need to constantly be replacing the turret. As for Cypher, you can just place your trips and go, and on top of that, his cages are super nice to block some of the nasty or long sight lines throughout the round. Cypher seems to be the favorite pick for Breeze right now, and it's for good reason. And that's going to do it for our agent pool, but before we move on to strategies for the map, if you guys are really looking to improve, I highly suggest you check out our hyper improvement system on SkillCapped.com. We have up-to-date lineups, courses on how to climb with each agent, Smurf commentaries where a higher ranked player walks you through how to carry in your rank, and so much more. Come join over 500,000 satisfied members, improve that KDA, and get the rank that you've always wanted at SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below. Moving on to strategies though for Breeze, there are a couple of key things you should know when playing Breeze, and that's how important both elbow and double doors can be for their respective site takes. When attacking B, you're sort of fighting an uphill battle if you engage directly out of B main. However, by taking a route through mid and collapsing onto the B site, it will make it very difficult for the defenders to maintain control of B site. Same thing goes for A. If you push from one location on any map, it can be difficult to actually take control of the site because you let the defenders focus all of their attention on that one entrance. Your goal is to overwhelm the defenders with pressure from different locations to, in the end, give your team the best chance of winning. As for the area like halls on Breeze, this can be a great position to control to not only apply more pressure to the A players, but also to cut off any fast flanks that could come from the defenders through shoot. That's just a basic rundown on strategies for the map and doesn't involve any specific abilities obviously to take control of the areas, but those are just general things you should be looking for. As for great locations you can smoke as an attacker, smoking the end of halls as well as the right side of middle can both prove to be excellent smokes for denying the defenders information and helping to grab your team some territory. This smoke on the right side of mid is really great because it gives you a safe path towards double doors, which can actually be awesome to help your team with an A site execute or even just faking that sort of presence. Aside from these two smokes, you can also smoke nest in the middle of the map, which is also good for denying info in mid, but this doorway is a bit too large, so you may struggle to smoke the whole entrance here. That doesn't mean it's not worth it, it just means you should be careful when you do this. As for defenders, obviously the choke points on the maps are always viable spots to smoke, as well as in the middle there are some decent one-ways that you can do. Lastly, it seems that the standard setup you'll see from defenders is 2A, 1 to watch main and 1 to watch double doors, 1 halls, 1 nest, and 1 B. However, since rotates takes so long on this map, I highly recommend that you do not play in a position on site that you can easily be surrounded and killed. Instead, what you should do is play in a spot where you can potentially look for a pick while they're pushing in, and then fall back to play with your team for retake. This means if you're playing solo on B, locations like this trench probably aren't the best position, as it's going to be very difficult to not inevitably get surrounded by enemies and fall. Also, one last thing to keep in mind with the nest player is alternative to playing nest, it's also very viable to play towards B connector, as this will provide you more direct assistance to the B player. Moving on to the last thing we need to talk about though, and that's going to be what weapons are good on Breeze. As you would probably expect, the operator is incredibly strong on Breeze because of the longer sightlines, but this also means that the Vandal really shines on this map due to its no fall off damage over the Phantom. Not only does the Vandal shine though, so does the Guardian and the Marshal even. Players oftentimes can choose to purchase the Marshal over the Sheriff on this map, since the Marshal is always going to be a guaranteed one hit to the head, whereas the Sheriff in many engagements on this map will find itself taking 2 hits to the head. Considering that on this map you're going to be utilizing a lot of tap firing with your rifles anyway though, this is probably the first map we've seen the Guardian really shine on. It's an excellent eco weapon that you will find yourself only aiming for headshots with, and because it's so cheap, it gives you the opportunity to use this weapon on 4 spies and ecos a lot easier. This does not necessarily mean that the Guardian is a better buy than the Vandal here on Breeze, but I really want to recommend it to players because this is probably the first time that we've ever seen the Guardian shine. Aside from that, shotguns and stingers really don't seem to be the move on Breeze because of how open it is. Although you can still make use of corner camping, if you do find yourself in a position where you have to retake a site with either of these guns, well, good luck. As for LMGs so far, there aren't a ton of spots for wallbangs, but that doesn't stop them from being laser accurate when ADSing, so they definitely do have a place. Some useful information if you do end up using a gun like the Ares or the Odin is the doors and hull are both wallbangable, so go crazy. Lastly, remember, if you want to win more gunfights, improve that KDA, and get the rank that you've always wanted, then be sure to check out SkillCapped.com. Link in the description below. That's going to do it for this Breeze guide. Be sure to let me know what you guys think of the map in the comments down below. I've had a lot of fun playing on it so far, and it's definitely a fresh experience. It's a bit wide open, but I don't think that's necessarily terrible for the map. It just means that long-range engagements take place, which really gives players a chance to showcase their aim. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. It really does help us out, and as always, I'm the King Live, and we here at SkillCapped want to thank you all for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.